Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of August 4th through 10th. Today is Saturday, August 10th. So, as you can see, I have a finished object. So we'll talk about that in the Yarnie update section, along with some other projects that I've been working on lately. I did finish some things as far as reading goes. So I participated in the 801 readathon that's hosted by 365 801 from the 4th through the 8th of this week. So I'll tell you what I read for that. I finished a novel. I read a couple other manga volumes, and so we'll talk about that. And then we'll go ahead and talk about what I've been watching at the end. So let's start off with what I finished reading. There won't be a what I'm currently reading section because I haven't actually picked anything else up that I'm in the middle of right now. And so, yeah, we're just going to roll with what we've got. So we'll start off with the novel. So I did finish The Hunt for Atlantis by Andy McDermott. This is the first book in the Nina, Wilde, and Eddie Chase series. So in this series, we're following Nina Wilde, who thinks she knows where Atlantis is. There is a team of people that go along with her to try to find out if she's right. We've got an ex-SAS bodyguard who's Eddie Chase. There's a couple other, money people who are investing in her expedition, and other people that join along the way. And it's just a really, really interesting adventure story. I was hoping that this would give me the kind of vibes of like Indiana Jones maybe, and it definitely gave me those vibes. It also kind of gave me the kind of feel of Dan Brown's Robert Langdon series. Like the later books kind of gave me that kind of feel also. It gave me what I was looking for. I really, really enjoyed it. There were lots of action-packed moments, especially as we head towards the end of this book. Lots of things start to happen, and I just really, really enjoyed this adventure. It definitely took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. Sometimes books do take longer. Plus the fact that, I was in high-stress moments at work. I wasn't reading a lot because I was exhausted. And then I went into vacation, and my reading slows down while I'm on vacation. I know this now. And so, yeah, even though it took me a really long time to read this, I still really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to continuing with this series and see what other adventures our group gets up to. So when I went to go and complete this and add the next book to my sequels shelf, because I like to keep a shelf of sequels so I know where I'm at. I noticed there's 17 books in this series right now, so it's a long one, and I have about 5 or 6 of these. I got them at the Friends of the Library sale that I went to last month, I think, or the month before. Not July, June. And so, yeah, I wasn't expecting the series to be that long. But the most recent book came out in 2023, so I'm not sure if it's done yet or if it's still going, but all of the books I have are about this thick. So this one's over 500 pages. And there is a sneak peek for the next book, which is called The Tomb of Hercules, in this one, and it sounds like an interesting adventure. I'm looking forward to it. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this. If you're into like adventure type novels, I definitely give this series a go. I did try to listen to this on audiobook. If you remember when I started talking about this early, when I started reading this one, the audiobook for me didn't give me the vibes that I was looking for. Switching to physical copy definitely helped me. So just something for you to know in case you find that you are not enjoying the book via audio, switch to physical and see if that works better for you, because I feel like the narrator just didn't give what I was looking for, the performance that I was looking for, like the feels and like the adventure feeling. The way that it was narrated was very, very laid back and didn't give me that type of edge of your seat, nail biting feelings during like fight scenes and things that were happening along the way. And so yes, this one travels all over the world also, which was also very interesting, and I really, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to continuing with that one. So that is the Nina, Wilde, and Eddie Chase series. Then let's get into what I read for the 801 readathon. So continuing from the ones that I read last week, I also read this week The Two Lions. This is by Nagisa Furuya, published by Seven Seas, rated teen. So this story is about two old classmates. So they're in college now. One guy has a reputation as being like someone that is almost gang-like, I would say, in his actions, but he's not like in a gang, but people have heard stories about him and things, and so he's always like had this reputation. And then there's this other guy who had gone to the same school in high school and knew of him but didn't really know him, and so now they're in college and they didn't know each other was going to the same college because the college is kind of far away from where they live. And so they end up getting to know each other and eventually forming feelings for each other. I thought this was a really, really cute story. I was a little bit unsatisfied with the ending, if I'm honest, because I was expecting a little bit more out of the relationship. It kind of just leaves you right when they start affirming their feelings for each other. And I would have loved to see a little bit more. This is a standalone, so there isn't any more. But I really, really enjoyed this one. I thought the relationship, or I should say the growth towards the relationship was really, really cute. And yes, I quite enjoyed this story, so I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Then I picked up The Dragon's Betrothed, Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Meguru Hinohara. This one is published by Sublime, rated mature. So in this story, we have like this like legend where in old times the land was facing a terrible drought, and a farmer says to a snake, "If you can make it rain, I will give you my daughter as a bride." And the snake turns into a dragon, makes it rain, and then comes to collect his bride. And so the folktale kind of goes that this is how the water dragon helps the land, and in exchange, is promised brides. And so at the beginning of the story, we meet this guy, and he is a worn out writer, and he comes back to his hometown to kind of just get some rest and relaxation. And without going into too much detail, he ends up discovering that his grandmother, who has passed a while ago, promised him to the water god as the water god's next bride. And usually how these things go is in exchange for something they wish for, that's where the bride gets exchanged for. So you kind of follow this guy coming to the realization that his grandmother had promised him to be the next bride of the water god, and the water god coming to like collect, but realizing that his bride is male, trying to like figure out how to get this guy to like agree to be his bride, because gods tend to disappear if they're not remembered and things like that. And so there's a whole bunch of other things, but the god wants to make a good impression on this guy, and so he ends up trying to live like a human for a little bit. And so you kind of see him like learning like basic human things, like how to cook and clean. And so yeah, it was really cute. I would say that even though both of these volumes were wrapped in plastic, Volume 1 is very clean. I would say I would rate Volume 1 teen, but on a whole, the series is mature. There are mature scenes in Volume 2. Now, I thought that this was a duology. Apparently, that's not really the case. So at the end of volume 2, there's a little note from the author saying, thanks so much for reading my series. I look forward to seeing you in the next volume. But apparently there has not been a next volume for years. So this is kind of what we have for this story. And while I kind of feel like we did get an ending, something that you could call an ending, there are lots of questions that I have that are not answered. Like, what did the grandma get in exchange for promising her grandson to be the water god's bride? We never got that answer. And there are a couple of other things as well that come up towards the end of volume 2 in regards to the relationship between this guy and the water god. And so, yeah, even though I would say that there is like an ending, it's a very, very open end, and I didn't get all the answers that I wanted, so it's a bit unsatisfactory. And then knowing that this is a series that was supposed to have another volume but just hasn't, I'm wondering if the mangaka is ever going to go back and write another one, because I would like to see a continuing story between these two characters. I'd like to see what the grandma got in exchange for promising her grandson to be the bride of this water god. I would like to see some other things, because there's some things in this guy's family dynamics that I really didn't like, and I want to know why. Like, why that is. And so, yeah, while I did enjoy seeing the relationship kind of blossom between our two characters, I'm left unsatisfied because I don't have all the answers I want. And I tend not to like open endings either. And I don't feel like this should be an ending, because we're supposed to have had another volume at least, based on what the author said. So I think I ended up giving this one 4 stars, I think both. The first volume is very, very cute. It's very cute, but second volume definitely has some mature scenes in there. There are some heart-wrenching moments as well. I will say there was a depiction in the first volume when they're talking about the fact that his grandmother has passed. There's a scene of him being at the funeral, and for whatever reason, the mangaka decided to go ahead and draw her torso with her hands like laid over her torso, like you would see someone in a coffin, with no head. And I thought that was very odd. It was a very odd depiction, and I don't even know why that was there in the montage of the scene. But yeah, it just struck me as being very odd. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed, like I said, watching the relationship between these two characters grow. There are other characters that we get introduced to as well, and I really enjoyed that. There's a possible side story that might happen with another one of the characters, and then you get other gods as well. And so while I was expecting a sort of Bride of the Water God type story, which is a manhwa that I had read several years ago, I never actually finished that one because it didn't get fully published in English, but I really enjoyed that story. I kind of expected more of that, like, fantasy world, the land of the gods type thing. That's not what happens in this one. It is definitely set in present day and not with lots of like godlike things kind of happening. It's more regular day, everyday life for our human character, and then a god trying to learn how to live in that life and things like that. And so, yes, I enjoyed this one. If there is a third volume ever, I would read it because, like I said, I do have questions still. The art style was very, very nice. And I enjoyed it. So, a little bit disappointing, but still enjoyable. And then I read Anyhow the Rabbit is Infatuated with the Puppy. This is art and story by Nie, published by 7 Seas, rated mature. So this is a BL story about our two characters here on the cover. This kind of was like Cat plus Gamer meets My Love Story with Yamada-kun Level 999. but BL. So we've got an office worker who constantly gets asked to go to like employee gatherings and things and constantly rejects it right away. He's somebody that immediately goes home when the end of the workday is there. And he does this because he really enjoys playing this video game. But he also enjoys reading shoujo manga. And he is part of a guild. He plays an MMORPG and is part of a guild. And he has been kind of having like a in-game relationship with this guy. And they end up like questing with each other and things. And this big festival is coming up. And the other guy has tickets and asks if the office worker would like to go with him to the festival. And so they end up meeting IRL and hitting it off. And so this story is about the two of them growing a relationship. Now, there is a big thing that I did not like about this story. And that is that we have an office worker, right? He's an adult. And his love interest is a teenager in high school. And at the beginning, after they have spent time together, he realizes that his partner is a teenager. And that doesn't stop him from doing things with this teenager. And not only that, the teenager is being taken care of by an uncle. And he has no problems with the fact that his teenage nephew is dating an adult. And none of the other adults that find out about this relationship in this volume have a problem with that either. And so that really did not agree with me. If this was a relationship between two adults, it would have been very cute. Because the communication between these two is good, I would say. Their relationship is cute. But the fact that it's a teenager who's still in high school and an adult, and none of the other adults have any issues with this at all, really didn't agree with me very good. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars. The art style is very cute. I like the fact that they bonded over playing a video game together. Like I said, very much like My Love Story with Yamada-kun level 999, which I do still need to pick up and read because I did enjoy the anime. But yeah, so very disappointing. I would have much preferred if both characters were adults here. And then the last thing I read for the 801 readathon was Love a Kitten and a Salty Dog by Nenko Nen. This one is published by 7 Seas Rated Mature. So this story follows a veterinarian, who's this guy, and he works the night shift, like the overnight shift. So he gets lots of late night emergency calls, people having issues with their pets. And so one night while he's working, this guy here brings in a kitten he has found, who's not doing very well, and is looking to help the kitten. The veterinarian helps to heal the cat and tells this guy, okay, you know, make sure that you give plenty of food and water and things like that. And he's like, oh no, it's not my kitten. I found him, and I'm a college student. I can't, the place that I'm living doesn't allow pets, so can the kitten stay? I'll pay, you know, for boarding and things until we find a solution for this kitten. And so he makes an exception, the veterinarian does, even though he's not supposed to. He makes an exception. And so the story kind of follows the two of them seeing each other, kind of bonding over this kitten and having a relationship. So this story was really cute. Again, following an adult and a college student. You don't know how old the college student is, but college student does have a job, living on their own. But the story has kind of a storyline of deception, I would say, which didn't agree with me. And this character here has a lot of kind of issues that I think needed more than one volume to work out with how the way the story ended. And so, yeah, it kind of felt like a really kind of summarized version of what their relationship should have been. And even though I enjoyed kind of watching their journey together, there were definitely things that I didn't enjoy, like the deception. And kind of, I would say, mixed signal giving. But I think I'm just going to leave it at that, because if I get into too much detail, there's definitely going to be spoilers. And this being a one-shot, and it's not very thick either, I think that's where I'm just going to leave it. So I did think that I enjoyed watching their relationship, but I would have liked to have more. And I think this would have done better if it was more than one volume. But it was still really cute. I enjoyed how it ended up. And so, yeah, I think I gave this one 3.5 stars. And then because I had finished my book after I had finished all of those volumes, I wanted something like different in between finishing my book and starting the next one, because the next book that I'm going to be reading has kind of similar like adventure-y vibes, and I didn't want to go into the next book immediately and not having like a break in between, because I thought that might not be a good thing, because I do already have the book loaned out to me from the library, and I need to read that next. So yeah, same type of vibe, so I wanted something a little bit different, and so I decided to pick up volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Yakuza Fiancé by Asuka Konishi. This one's published by 7 Seas, rated older teens. So this is volume 3, volume 4, and volume 5. And so this story is about our two characters here on the cover. They are grandchildren of two Yakuza leaders. So her grandfather is a leader in Osaka, and his grandfather is a leader in Tokyo, I believe. And they've been like acquaintances or friends over the decades, and they have agreed to have their grandchildren marry to kind of bring the gangs together. And so these two like don't know each other. They've lived apart like in different areas, right? So she ends up having to move in with him and start going to school in Tokyo to kind of get this like engagement started. And it's been a rocky road. Like, she definitely can hold her ground, and he is a little bit strange. While both of them are not Yakuza members, they definitely have like traits, I would say, as far as like, you know, fighting and temper. And what they do when their temper gets up. And so kind of we follow their relationship, getting to know each other, dealing with the fact that they're now engaged to each other, and the whole like backstory about their families and things, and adjusting to new life, and kind of getting to know each other and stuff. And so there's a little bit of mystery element, because their families are involved in Yakuza business, right? And so there was a little bit of mystery in the two previous volumes. Now in these volumes, we're kind of dealing with some other people in like his life, that he's, you know, one of those people that there are a lot of people that hate him, so there's constantly people trying to get him. And now that she's in his life, you know, people are after her as well. And just something happens, and so we're kind of following that throughout these volumes, as well as meeting other people in the family. So like her cousin, someone else in her family, getting to know him, and her kind of getting to know how his family lives and things like that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the series. I've got one more volume on my shelf right now. I think there's one more volume after that and another one coming out soon, I think. Really enjoyed these. So I will say that I thought I had read volume 3. So I actually started with volume 4 and then read volume 5. And then when I went to go load it into Goodreads, I realized that I didn't read volume 3. So I read volume 3 after volumes 4 and 5, but I still really enjoyed this read. I didn't feel like I even missed anything going into 4, but reading volume 3 definitely filled in some things that I didn't know that I was missing, but I'm glad to have that information now. I really enjoyed these. 4.5 stars for each of these. I'm really enjoying this series. Plus, I wanted to get caught up with this series because its anime adaptation, I think, is coming out later this year or maybe early next year, but it's coming out soon, and I wanted to get caught up before we start watching the anime. But really enjoyed the series. This guy in this guy and this guy is the same guy, so this is kind of his business look, and this is kind of his more casual look, but it's the same guy. But when he looks like this, kind of gives me like Bokuto from Haikyuu vibes. Kind of looks like Bokuto a little bit, and Bokuto is one of my favorite characters from Haikyuu. So yeah, he definitely kind of has that same personality too, where he can be real jovial and kind of wild and off the cuff, but at the same time he's also got like a real serious, dark, kind of brooding side, which Bokuto doesn't seem to have. Like, not dark, but I know Bokuto broods, but it kind of comes off as more comedic, and Bokuto seems more like a brighter character. This guy definitely has those two different sides, but he still kind of looks and acts like Bokuto, so I enjoy that about him. And so yes, I'm really enjoying the series so far. It looks like we're going to get some development as far as the relationship goes as well in the next volume, so I'll be reading that one probably tonight, and talking to you about that next week. But really, really enjoying the series. I'm looking forward to seeing the anime adaptation and how all of that comes to life. Plus, the art style is very kind of different from what I'm used to. And so, yes, really, really enjoying. And their clothes, and like, they look so glamorous here. Really, really enjoying that one. So, that is everything that I've read so far. So, I'm really glad that I was able to participate in the 801 readathon again. I'm not sure how I did with the bingo board at this point, but it was fun still. I got through a lot of stuff that I had on my shelf. And yeah, maybe next year I'll try to read a prose or a novel instead of reading manga, because right now, in looking at what I have collected that I have not read yet, I've pretty much read almost all of the BL I have. So I either need to like collect some more until the next Pride Month, or read novels, because I do have some BL novels. And you know, I've read some other male romances during Pride Month that I've been really enjoying. The two like murder mystery series, Criminal Intentions and the Big Bad Wolf, I think that's what it's called, by Charlie Adhara series. So I'm really enjoying those. And Criminal Intentions has so many episodes out right now. I'm really like got a backlog of that, so there's no way that I'm ever going to catch up with that before the next Pride readathon. But I also have some BL light novels that I'd like to read as well. And so yeah, I definitely need more BL manga in my collection, because pretty much now I have mostly GL, I think, left on my shelf. So I've read almost all of the BL. So really, really good, really enjoyable readathon. I enjoyed seeing what everybody else is reading as well, and seeing them check off the bingo board, because some of those I knew I wasn't going to be able to check off. Like there's a box that says Naked Apron. Yeah, I knew I wasn't getting that one, but I like to see like how many I can check off just by reading what I want to read, what I have. And it was a great readathon. I enjoy it all the time. I enjoy seeing what everybody else is reading. And so, yeah, I had a really good time. And I'm going back to work this week. So reading should probably be going back up again. And so, yeah, I think that's all I have to talk to you about reads. I do have my next novel lined up, so I'll talk to you about that a little bit next week. And so, yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave the reading. And so let's get into the Yarnie update now. So obviously, you've been staring at it this whole time. I did finish my niece's mini last unicorn. So it's small enough that I could put it on my mannequin. And I've noticed that a lot of podcasts like to show things on mannequins now. I'm not going to be able to do this for all of my finishes because this is a child's mannequin. And I'm quite a lot bigger than a child. But I had this lying around, so I thought, why not use it? Because sometimes it's hard to see when I hold it up. And so, yeah, and this will give you a better look at what it'll look like when it's on an actual body. But yeah, the color work is definitely not as puckery as I thought it was going to be. So that's great. It actually looks really, really good on the mannequin. So this is my niece's mini last unicorn sweater. So let me see if I can... This is where I was when I talked to you last. So I finished this sleeve. I did end up being a little bit looser with my bind off on the sleeve. Because I was talking to you last week about how I didn't really like how tight my bind off was. I ended up trying to be a little bit more loose with my bind off on this sleeve, and I do like that a lot better. So again, I did the knit through the back loop, knit two through the back loop, bind off. And this came out so well that I did end up undoing the bind off on this sleeve and redoing the bind off so to give it a little bit more slack, and now it stretches a bit more. So I do like that a lot better. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue with my nieces, but yeah. Niece 2's mini last unicorn. So now I have one for my older niece, and this is the one for my younger niece. So this is a 6 to 8 year mini last unicorn. Again, Lion Brand Pound of Love in the turquoise is the main. We've got the unicorns in I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby and Fruit Salad. And the rainbow is a deconstructed mandala cake in the colorway Gnome. And so I'm really, really loving how this looks. I hope my nieces love it as much as I do. And I'm excited to give it to them when I see them. So, yeah. That is my first, or my only, finished object for the month so far. And so I'm really, really excited about that. It came out amazing. I definitely need one for myself, I think. But I'm going to take a little bit of a break before I do mine because, you know, doing two of the same type of sweater back to back, I'm ready for something a little different. So, plus, I do have some other projects that I really want to get done before October. So, we'll work on that. But let me grab my other works in progresses and I'll show you where I'm at with those. So I have two works in progress, and they are both the sock projects. So I've got my Sharky sock in here, the Drippity drop in my shark bag from Utterly Adorable Knits. So this is how much I have right now. So this is where I was the last time I talked to you, and I have done this much. I put in my heel, and I'm now doing the gusset decreases. I'm doing these on my Addy Flexi flips, but I'm really enjoying how this looks. The Drippity drop pattern is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears podcast, and has an Eye of Partridge heel, and I really, really like how that Eye of Partridge is looking on this side. However, it does not look as great on this side. Like, you can see it here. But what's this? It looks like it's plain stockinette stitch. I don't know what's up with that. So, I don't know. I will say that this is the side that I start the row on. So maybe it's because it's not as loose where I'm starting the row, and it gets looser where I finish the row. This side looks great. That's the best I've ever done Eye of Partridge. Normally my Eye of Partridge looks like this part here. Just plain stockinette. That's what it looks like to me. And it looks much better here. But I think I might need to loosen up a bit when I start the row. But I'm very happy with how this side looks. That looks great. The best I've done on an Eye of Partridge. So I am learning, I guess, that my slip stitch needs to be really, really loose. Or my slip stitch row, I should say, needs to be really, really loose. I think that's why I'm getting such a great texture right there. But I did the Eye of Partridge, square heel turn, and my heel flap, and now I'm just working down the gusset decreases. So I'm really enjoying this pattern. Like I said, it's an easy 4-row repeat. I've already memorized it. I memorized it after doing the first 4 rows. So very, very easy. I think it looks great. And so, yeah, this is Yarn Cafe Creations Biscotti sock in the Tipsy Shark colorway. And then the heel is Lolo Did It's plush sock in the Anduin, I think that's what it's called, colorway, which I think is a Lord of the Rings reference. And so, yes, very, very happy with how this looks. So I'll continue working on that. And then the other sock that I worked on was, I put in this turtle bag, also from Utterly Adorable Knits. This is also her medium sock bag. And I actually do have a small sock bag from Utterly Adorable Knits. I realized that I had one when I was looking through my bags. It's a Peanuts sock bag, and that's perfect size for socks. So definitely check out Utterly Adorable Knits on Etsy if you are looking for sock bags or notions or things like that. But I did put in a couple of rounds on the Olympic socks. So this is where I'm at right now. That is where I was when I talked to you last, and this is how much I've done. Not too much, but I have already marked where my heel is going to go. So these are going to have afterthought heels. So I'm just going to go round and round and round until I get to the toe, do the toe, and then come back and do the heel. So the pattern that I'm using for that is the Umbrella Socks pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears podcast, which is basically a sock pattern that has her umbrella heel as an afterthought heel and then the umbrella toe as your toe pattern. And so, yeah, 64 stitches, just plain stockinette sock, 2x2 rib on top. In the Lolo Did It Witchcraft and Wizardry colorway, which is a Harry Potter colorway on her sparkle sock base, which is a 75% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. This one has silver stellina. I don't think you can see it. I did not see it when I showed this to you last week. It's not coming up on the camera, but there is silver stellina in there. It's not very, very sparkly, but it's just a little bit to give it a little bit of special stuff. So, yeah. Plain stockinette, going round and round and round. And so it's a really easy thing to have on the needles while I am watching the Olympics. And so we are on the last day of competition, I think, right now, and this will bring us to what I've been watching. So we have been watching lots of other types of sports that we don't normally watch. So we did some sports climbing, watching this week, which was really, really interesting. It's not something that we watch regularly. We watched a little bit at the last Summer Olympics, but only what they had shown on the TV broadcast. And this year, because the TV broadcasts aren't showing as much as I would like them to, we have been supplementing with watching on Peacock. So we're getting a lot more of a like rounded view of things. I've noticed that the television broadcast is not showing even all of the American athletes, which I thought was weird. And so, yeah. And like events that don't have American athletes in them, they're not airing at all. So we didn't get to see the men's gymnastic finals for like rings or parallel bars. So we ended up watching those on Peacock. We watched the sports climbing, the women's finals on the speed climbing on Peacock. That was so interesting. We watched the men's speed finals on the television broadcast, and they showed it all because it goes so fast. I was like, wow, if the women were doing a certain time, what are the men doing? Oh my goodness, like that was crazy. So very, very interesting. We're planning on watching the bouldering climbing tonight, and I think that'll be interesting because I think the last time when we watched, we did only watch bouldering. We didn't watch the speed climbing. So I think speed climbing was new for us this year. Very interesting. We watched the air gun teams shooting because there's that meme going around, and I was so interested to see. And yeah, it was very interesting. I really, really enjoyed watching the teams competition. We watched artistic swimming, which is the synchronized swimming, the teams. That was really, really interesting as well. It's been a while since I've been able to watch the synchronized swimming. And because we're watching on Peacock, we see all of the teams, which is really, really nice. I really enjoyed that. We watched the duets technical performance, I think, last night on Peacock. Really enjoyed that as well. We also watched the speed cycling, team pursuit, and the team like regular speed cycling. We really enjoy watching that also. I think team pursuit is probably my favorite to watch, and it was really, really interesting, and so that was fun. I noticed that on Peacock they have countdowns on some of the sports. So like the artistic swimming said you only had 2 days to watch last night, and the regular gymnastics also was the same way. And so some of them have that, but other things like the shooting and archery and things, they don't have. So I don't know like how long Peacock is going to hold on to certain of the sports, but we still want to watch archery and the rhythmic gymnastics, fencing. And so there's still quite a bit to watch. I know there's more stuff, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But yeah, there's still more stuff that we want to watch. And I just feel like, I don't know, this whole like Olympics experience this year was not the same for me. I don't know. Like the TV broadcasts weren't showing as much as I wanted them to, and then supplementing with Peacock, or having to supplement with Peacock, which is something we didn't do before, even though I did have a Peacock subscription during the last Olympics. I don't know. And not having the same like commentators. There's certain commentators I really enjoy for certain sports. And because like the broadcast wasn't clear, my antenna wasn't getting the reception, made me had to watch it on Peacock. So I got different commentators, and so I definitely have certain commentators that I enjoy. And I've already told you that I prefer unbiased commentators. And it was really interesting because the artistic swimming commentator, there's one that's like a specialist. Like she was in the sport, she knows the sport really well, she's competed. So she talks a lot about technical stuff, and she commentates throughout the entire performance of each and every team. And then you've got the other commentator who doesn't know quite as much. And that other commentator was asking her, oh, which one was your favorite performance? And the other commentator was like, you know, as commentators, we're not supposed to have favorites. And I thought that was a really, really good thing to make clear, because you really shouldn't be biased when you're commentating a sport. And I really, really appreciated that. And I think that's why I enjoyed their commentation. I did watch a little bit of the artistic swimming from the TV broadcast that we got on NBC, and I didn't enjoy those commentators as much. They weren't as, like, I guess, knowledgeable about what was going on. They weren't, like, talking through all of the different techniques that were needing to be had in each performance, and, like, basically giving a small critique of the performance while it was going. Like, the other lady on Peacock, she's all like, oh yeah, they need to work on their height a little bit. That was an excellent throw, or, you know, excellent synchronization right there. And she would just, like, she gives you all of these little comments, and then the TV broadcast just wasn't as detailed. They didn't seem to be into the performance as much, and that kind of made it less exciting. Plus, the recording was only like 40 minutes, and that included all of the commercials in between and stuff. So they skipped a lot of the performances, and obviously they showed USA, but they only showed like 2 or 3 other teams, and then that was it for the artistic swimming. And I was like, oh, that's a bit of a letdown. So we did go back and watch on Peacock, and I really, really enjoyed that. So we're going to watch some more. Oh, we watched some speed paddling. We watched the paddling. That was fun. Really enjoyed that. I do still want to go back and watch some canoe and kayak slalom also, because I do find interest in that as well. And so, yeah, still lots of stuff to watch, and I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to. I've been hanging on to my recordings from the broadcast, even if they're not very, like, good reception, just in case. But yeah, I've been enjoying what I've been watching, but it's just been a little bit, I don't know, not as easy to find what I've been wanting to see, I guess. It just feels like they were showing a different way of things, I guess, this year. And so, yeah, definitely different experience, but I'm still enjoying watching all the athletes the same. And, yeah. Well, we watched a little bit of the skateboarding competition as well, and that's always fun also. And so, yeah. So, more Olympics watching tonight. We'll be watching the closing ceremonies tomorrow. On Monday, I go back to work. Not looking forward to it, but what can you do, right? And so, yeah. I'll have another vacation on the horizon. I do have another vacation on the horizon, so I just gotta look forward to that. And I think that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. So let me know down in the comments below. Have you been watching the Olympics? What have you been watching? Have you felt like this year's TV broadcast of the Olympics, or how they're, like, showing things, has been different for you? Have you been enjoying what you've been watching? Have you watched any new sports to you that you normally don't watch? For me, definitely shooting. Air gun shooting was something new that I've never watched before, and the speed climbing, very, very interesting. And so, yeah, let me know what you've been watching, what you've been reading, what you've been working on, and if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, leave me a unicorn emoji for the mini last unicorn, or some kind of fantastical creature. I think there are a few. If not, your sports emojis would be great too for the Olympics. That would be greatly appreciated. That would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.